I never believed the phrase, people mistake silence for peace. I used to be one of them, would become my anthem. I sit in the mahogany-warmed living room of the Vale Estate in Savannah, Georgia, its ornate Victorian turrets gleaming in the afternoon sun. I clasp my sweater around my third trimester belly. My husband, Dr. Marcellus Vale, stands at the window, reviewing patient notes. His presence is steady, professional. Everyone admires him. 15 years my senior, he has the respectful aura of a man who saves lives. To the world, I am the lucky wife. To myself, I begin to feel like the wounded silent partner. CM, slow build EM, unease. It happens subtly. The medicine cabinet, always locked, even though I'm his pregnant wife. The casual insistence from his mother, Celine Vale, that I stick to her ancestral meals and skip the dietitian. These are tiny cadences of control. I had brushed them off. Until tonight. Twist S1. Grant insisted I cancel the appointment with Dr. Helena Cross. Trust me, he said. I nodded. Later, I scrolled the text he sent. Unnecessary. My stomach twisted. I typed a question, then deleted it. It's not about trust. It's about control dressed as care. I had worn that truth like a hidden scar. Viewer note. Have you ever trusted someone just because they wore a white coat? That night, I took the velvet box Celine left on my bedside table. Inside, small white capsules. Take one nightly for the baby, she said softly, smiling. I asked for the label. She stared at me, then said, You and the baby are our legacy, our responsibility. My throat closed. I considered the capsule resting in my palm. Twist S2. At 2:08 a.m., a faint creak. I opened my eyes. Celine, slipping out of my door. I froze. The sleeping baby's first kicks felt like warnings. I pushed the pills into my dresser drawer. The distrust solidified. CM. Slow tense EM. Doubt. The dream started 2 nights later. A sterile chamber. A baby wailing behind bars. My baby. My stomach convulsing in the darkness. I woke gasping. During my quiet moments of stillness, I asked aloud, Are you trying to tell me something? The baby answered with a sharp jolt. Not comforting. Not soft. Sharp. I created a journal, an adult's tears disguised as ink, to record these kicks, these feelings no one believed. Twist S3. I retrieved my late mother's letter. Not all mothers protect. Some survive. I held it like a weapon in the dark. My internal voice screamed, This isn't just about being a wife or a mother. It's about saving myself. CM. Tense rising EM, rising fear. Then I snuck out. I called Dr. Helena Cross's clinic. She looked at me, her face drained of color after the scan. Twist S4. Aurelia, this isn't just a baby. There's a foreign object embedded in the uterine wall. The words landed like shards of glass. She whispered, We have to act now. But you must not tell your husband or his mother. My world tipped sideways. My heart froze. I remembered Dad's words. True danger never yells. It whispers. I stilled, and then I breathed. They chose me for something. I'll find out what. CM. Accelerated tension. EM. First flash of resolve. I looked at the monitor from the scan again. Among the soft shadows of my unborn child was something unnatural, metal bright, something not meant to be inside me. My hand pressed against my belly. I didn't sleep that night. I planned. It had been 2 weeks since I last looked at the scan. 2 weeks since Helena said we had to act now. I hadn't. I'd spent those days pretending to be the woman Marcellus thought he married. And while he flew to a medical conference in Miami, I watched him drive off with a kiss on my forehead and a chilling sense of detachment in my chest. The moment the driveway emptied, I unlocked his study. He always kept the door ajar, but that cabinet, the one with the antique brass handles, was always bolted shut. I bent a paper clip, my hands trembling. I'd never picked a lock in my life, but my body knew what my mind feared. Inside, ultrasound prints older than mine, medical memos, estate documents. One caught my breath. Biometric authorization protocol. Phase 2 activation post-birth. Another, device embedded in utero. Extraction to trigger Lauren Trust sequence. I sat back on the floor. Wind knocked from my lungs. I wasn't just carrying a child. I was carrying a vault key. My uterus had been repurposed into a financial mechanism. Ever felt like a vessel, not a person? I whispered to the room. Just the wrapping for someone else's gain. I remembered the voices first, slipping through the floor vent. I'd been heading to bed early when I heard Marcellus's low murmur. I froze, turned off the hallway light, and leaned near the vent. "The girl is compliant," he said. "Not my name. Not even my wife. Just the girl." Celine responded, "We extract after delivery. Activate the vault. Our legacy continues." Her voice chilled me. Not just the words, but the certainty. Genetic security, she called it. I had recorded that moment on my burner phone. Jonas Mercer, the lawyer Helena trusted, played it 3 times before exhaling. "This isn't just malpractice, Aurelia. This is biometric fraud. Criminal conspiracy." I pressed my hand against my stomach as the baby kicked, sharper this time. My panic didn't dissolve, it hardened. Olivia Dane's ghost stood between my breath and my reason. I had to trace back further. If I was a vault, someone forged the lock long ago. The archivist greeted me at the Savannah Historical Society. His memory was loose, but his boxes were tight. Inside them, I found documents on the Lauren family's bioinheritance theory, genetic tagging as security. The project was shelved decades ago after its lead scientist, my biological grandfather, Thaddeus Lauren, abruptly vanished from public records. But the real crack formed when I found the pediatric surgical form. It had my stepfather's signature, Garrett Shaw, dated when I was 9. A minor uterine corrective surgery, it read. But I remembered no such procedure. My mother's signature was forged beneath his. "Don't trust the ones who feed you with silence," she once told me before she died. I thought she meant family dinners. Now I knew she meant legacy. I dug deeper. The next envelope was sealed in an old red-tied box marked "Private Correspondence." A letter from Celine to Thaddeus. No date, but the ink was aged, the paper fragile. "My dearest Thad," it began. "I gave you everything. You gave me nothing. You'll never see what we built together, but I will ensure it lives." Her bitterness filled the margins. Her seduction turned threat. My skin crawled. Was this entire marriage her revenge? If she couldn't own Lauren's legacy through love, she'd breed it through manipulation? This wasn't about money. It was about power, bloodline, erasure. I wasn't the chosen one. I was the controlled one. I needed out. I needed proof. But before that, I needed to know if I was the first. A yellowed newspaper clipping gave me my answer. "Local bride missing, Olivia Dane, 28, last seen leaving work at Lauren Women's Clinic." She was engaged to Marcellus Vale. Pregnant. The case was labeled inconclusive. Months later, the clinic shut down for funding discrepancies. The dots weren't just connecting, they were igniting. I drove to Olivia's childhood home, a rusted fence and faded mailbox, marking what grief never let go. Her mother opened the door, her eyes already knowing. "They took her body," she whispered, "but not her silence." I left with more than sorrow. I left with clarity and urgency. When I walked back into my bedroom, I froze. Celine was sitting on my side of the bed, holding the velvet vitamin box. She smiled. "You've been busy, dear. Let's talk about loyalty." I didn't plan for the escape to feel like surrender. The clinic parking lot glowed under sodium lights as I folded myself into the back of Jonas Mercer's sedan, clutching the burner phone without recording. The voices of Marcellus and Celine discussing me as though I were a vault. 2 hours earlier, I had slipped out under the guise of prenatal yoga. Now I gasped when the driver's blade scraped near my arm. I blacked out. CM. Escape mode. EM. Urgency. When I woke, the nursery's pale LED lights buzzed overhead. My phone was gone. My wrists were cuffed to one of the antique crib rails. My body betrayed me. Contractions fired one after the other, sharp and unpredictable. I pressed my fingers to the lock, teeth grit. If you were locked away alone and contractions started, would you still fight or just pray? I asked myself that question in the dark. He appeared quietly, Marcellus Vale, holding a coffee carafe, offering a strained smile. Aurelia. The name felt wrong. He sat gently, as if preparing to deliver bad news. Celine made me understand my role, he said. I was disciplined, trained. My life story, it became yours. He showed me the torn piece of paper, a letter addressed not to him but about him. Plan B. I swallowed my revulsion and asked, "Then help me make it stop." He unlocked a hidden drawer, the kind I'd never dreamed existed in our home. Inside, a small tracker blinking. "She doesn't know about this," Marcellus whispered. "You activate it, the push notification goes to Helena. She's in." For the first time I saw him as a fighter, not an enemy. And I decided this fight was mine. CM, breakdown EM strength. I lit the tracker. 3 pulses. The nursery window, latch, caught my elbow. Metal lamp stand in hand. I pried it open, breath ragged and world spinning. Outside, Jonas, Helena Cross, and Detective Warren Hale were crouched under hedges. Lights swirled. My escape was messy, jagged real. Marcellus hurried away, sleeves rolled up, defeat in his eyes. Celine screamed from the veranda. "She's mentally unstable. She kidnapped herself." I collapsed as my water broke, panic roaring like a freight train. Helena eased onto her knees beside me and said, "We deliver now or never." CM, showdown, EM, horror. Some hours later, I'm strapped to a gurney. In the clinic hallway, the machines beeped like bombs. Dr. Cross held my hand. My blood warmed and chilled at the same time. The baby's heartbeat faltered. In a blur of curtains and voices I heard, "Emergency, cesarean." I thought that I was going to fade. The placenta slid out and Helena's monitor chirped. Match confirmed. My baby cries. Sounds so simple, so miraculous. The tracker lit up, locked. The Lorne Trust Fund shifted to her name. I whispered to her, "You are not a weapon. You are my ending and my beginning." CM. Breakthrough, EM, liberation. Weeks later, in the courthouse, I sat with our little girl in my lap. Jonas stood beside me, gaze steady. Celine, pale and shaking, clutched her purse and pretended the world was blurry. The attorney laid bare the proof. Video footage, biometric logs, the hidden tracker. A hush washed over the room. The judge nodded and denied bail. Marcellus rose, voice firm but broken. I was born under her laws. Let me die outside them. I breathed. I exhaled. I accepted. The control ends here. CM. Resolution, EM, liberation. I stepped out into the sunlight, hearing cameras click. I felt something bigger than fear. Hope. I carried our daughter. I carried the truth. I carried myself.